What's up, everybody? So I've been looking at these patch notes for season 3, and I get on YouTube, I get on Twitch, I'm looking at the streamers and content creators for Tekken 7, and everyone's just glancing over the Hwoarang changes. Like, no one's talking about it really. So I decided I'm gonna do it then. So here we are. Let's just jump right into the changes. So change number 1. So right here it says during rage, Hwoarang's rage drive, fix an issue which it could not be performed while running or sidewalking. I mean, that's good. I didn't really notice it when I played, but you know, quality of life change right there. Not bad. Roll 133, change the opponent's behavior when hit. Some people are speculating that they think this might be a natural combo now. I highly doubt it. I don't think they would make his 10 frame punish better than his 11 frame punish, for example. So this change, I'm going to assume it's pretty useless, because the move itself is pretty useless once you start getting to like mid-level and all of that. So I don't care too much about that. Down 4-1. So it got changed. The frame advantage now is a -1 on block instead of 0, which is a slight nerf. And the frame advantage also went down to +6, which is a slight nerf. And that's fine because of this move right here. So they added a new move. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll show it in the video in a minute. But down 4-1-3, that's an extension off of the down 4-1. So now he's going to have a kind of a, I think it's a mid kick. Yeah, it's going to be a mid kick extension from the down 4-1 that leads him into left flamingo stance. So we don't know the frame data on that yet, but it seems like a pretty good move. It seems like a decent little 13 frame punish. It might be better than his 11 frame punish, hopefully. So I'm pretty excited about that one right there. Down back 3. Decrease the distance between the character and the opponent when blocked. So this basically is a slight nerf, I think. This means that it'll be easier for people to punish you when you use down back 3 on them and they block it, so that's fine. Down back 4-4. The frame advantage when blocked went from -3 to -1. Shorten the recovery time after the move hits by 2 frames. Now, again, this is a move that outside of combos, it's pretty useless. No one's really using that because the second hit, I guess I'll show you guys. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys already know this, but the second hit is a high, and it's not a natural combo. It doesn't jail or anything, so people can duck that actually. It's not really a good move to use. So, shorten recovery time, I guess that makes combos a little bit easier, but the combos are already really easy off of that move anyway, so I'm not sure what the point of that was. I guess we'll find out. Alright, so this is a big change here. Back 1, they nerfed the damage. They nerfed the amount of negative frames that you have when they block it, so now it's more punishable. They changed the frame advantage to 1 less frame, so now it's -1 instead of 0 on hit. It's also pretty bad. But then it says here they changed the behavior when the move lands on a counter hit. Some people are speculating that they think that's going to be a launcher. That would be pretty stupid, I think. The move is already really good. Maybe a little bit too good. I think that this means maybe, I mean, it's all just speculation, right? But it might just give a normal knockdown now. And maybe if we're lucky, it will wall splat near a wall. So I'm not expecting too much out of this. It might have been nerfed overall. I'm not sure. But again, we'll find out when it comes out. Now this is interesting. Back 3. Back 3 is already really good for whiff punishing, right? So I'm a little bit baffled that they increased the range here, but I'm not mad at it. That's cool. Easy. It's going to be easy to whiff punish, and when people whiff maybe longer range moves like Brian's long range mid kick, I can't really think of it right now, or maybe Jin's forward 4, for example. If you can stay out of range of it, maybe back 3 will be able to reach more consistently, or even we might be able to punish things like Death Fist more consistently. You know, moves that have a lot of pushback, or Heihachi's forward 4-2, for example. So you know, this is a really interesting change. I'm excited to see just how far the reach is now. Back 4. This is pretty good here. They changed the frame advantage when blocked from -9 to -7, so it's a little bit better on block. And they increased the distance between the character and the opponent when the move is blocked. Now this is important, I think, because you know, when you're sitting in your opponent's face, let's put him on block here. And this move's -9, and I'm still in his face. So basically, when they block this, there's nothing you can do. You're -9 and you're right in their face, which is exactly where they want you to be, right? But now it's going to be -7 and apparently have some sort of a pushback. Which means it may give us a little bit of time to move around or evade you know, any opponent's counterattacks depending on how far the pushback may be. So this move just being blocked, it may just give us more time to move around, or a little bit more space to move around without getting hit out of it. You know, that seems pretty good to me. Up back 3-4, increase the distance between the character and the opponent when the move is blocked. I don't see what the point of that is. I mean, that's this move here. I don't know what giving a pushback is going to do. I don't see how that helps at all, honestly. The move's terrible, and it's probably going to remain terrible. Up 3, they change the frame advantage when blocked from +3 to +5. That's good. They increase the distance between the character when the opponent blocks the move, and they lowered the range of the attack. So that's this move here, up 3. I guess it's going to hit a little bit lower now, which doesn't really matter because it's a high anyway, unless they change it to a mid, which is, you know, not going to happen, obviously. The frame advantage is better, which is nice, and they increase the lower range, and they increase the distance when it's blocked. So it has pushback as well. I don't know why they're giving Hwoarang all this pushback stuff on block. In some cases it seems like an advantage, in some cases it seems like a disadvantage. You know, when things leave you in flamingo stance and it gives the opponent pushback, I think that's a disadvantage because you want to be in your opponent's face when you're in flamingo stance, right? But for this move, for example, when you're in your regular stance, right foot forward or left foot forward, you might want a little bit more pushback so you have time to kind of reset, you know, kind of reset the game a little bit. So some moves is good and bad, it seems. We'll have to see what happens with that. Up 4, change the frame advantage when blocked from 0 to +3. That's pretty good, but again, they gave it pushback. See, I don't like that pushback right there, because when I'm in up 4, you know, I'm in flamingo stance now, I'm probably going to want to be in my opponent's face. So even though they're increasing it to +3, which is good, that means that jabs can now trade with your opponent's jabs. Before, the only move out of up 4, after they blocked it, that would interrupt them or stop them from attacking you would be that move right there, or the armor move. So now you can jab after that, even if they block it, and you can at least trade jabs and kind of reset from there. That's pretty good, but the pushback may not allow the jab to reach, and that's what I'm worried about. So we'll have to see how far the pushback actually is on that. Up 4-2, they change the frame advantage upon hit from +4 to +6. That's good. They increase the lower range of the attack. That means it's going to hit a little bit lower, which is nice. That means it has an expanded hitbox, essentially. And they reduced the strength of the pushback and made the move easier to land. I don't know what that means. But just in case you don't know, no one uses this move, so you may not have seen it too much before. That's this move right here. It's really bad. It's slow. It doesn't do anything. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be very good, even after the slight buffs to it. So let's move on to the next move. Up forward, 4-4. So they fixed an issue where the second hit would miss after the first hit is blocked. So that's just the move here. Apparently the mid would miss sometimes after the high was blocked, which is, I've never seen that happen because first of all, I don't use the move. And secondly, the mid has longer range than the high, so that's kind of weird to me. But that's fine, whatever. This is a great buff. It may not seem like much, this is a big buff right here. 4 neutral down, down, forward 3. So crouch dash 3 now is +4 on block instead of +3. Now, you know, for any of you non-Hwoarang enthusiasts or people who are just kind of picking up the character, don't know, this move is not really very good because it puts you in situations where you have to attack, and your fastest attack trades with their jab, right? So your jab trades with their jab from that, because a jab in flamingo stance comes out at 13 frames instead of 10. So when you're +3, it trades with their 10 frame jab, essentially. But now this is going to be +4, your jab will actually beat their jab. That makes the situation quite a bit better for you. Now you're not just putting yourself in a situation to where you can only trade with your opponent. You're actually putting yourself in a situation to where you might be able to beat your opponent. And that may make this move overall good. It's also a wall bounce, it's a mid, it's, you know, this move might be really good now. I'm excited to see that. Left stance back towards enemy 4. Increase the lower range of the attack and change the opponent's behavior hit on hit while down. So left stance back towards 4. Back 4. That move right there, right? They lower the range of the attack, which may mean it could hit grounded now. I don't see how else you could lower the range anymore. It comes from the bottom of the screen. So the only thing I could imagine is that that means it hits grounded now, which will probably give you the Oki hit like back 3 does when they're on the ground. And instead it changed the behavior when the opponent is down. So yeah, I think it's meant to hit a downed opponent now. So that would be a cool little Oki tool. Maybe if you're jumping over your opponent, kind of like Xiao you can do. Maybe Hwoarang can do that now too when you jump over your opponent. And even if they don't get up, you could still hit them when they're on the ground. That would be really nice. I think this is being overlooked a little bit. That could be really nice if that happens. So this right here, they made the punch parry give you an extra plus frame, which means now you can land your down forward 1, which is great because of the new move that I showed you up here. Down forward 1-3 will be able to hit after you parry a punch now. So it's going to be a little bit better than the 4-3 that you get now, or the 4-4-4, whatever you use. Your 11 frame punish basically. So that's a nice change. I don't really use the punch parry much. I know some people use it sometimes, and it's useful in some situations. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a fine little buff, I guess. So while in right stance 1-1, change the frame advantage, or right stance 2-1-1. Change the frame advantage when blocked from -9 to -8, slight buff. Frame advantage on hit from +2 to +3, slight buff, and increase the distance between the character and the opponent when the move hits, so it has pushback now. This is a move that most people don't really use. It's that move right there, or that move. Either one's the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's slightly buffed. I don't really see it being used still, to be honest. I don't see why you would use it, but that's a cool little buff, I guess. While in right stance 2-3, change the frame advantage from -9 to -7, slight buff, and increase the distance so it has pushback now. Now this is one of the instances where the pushback is good, right? So that's this move right here, which is very similar to this move which we talked about a little bit earlier, right? So with that move having a little bit more pushback and only being -7, I think that move too, it's basically just this kick right here. That will make it easier for you to move around and reset, kind of like I mentioned before. That's definitely a nice little buff there. Now this is really interesting. While in right stance 3-4, the second hit can now be cancelled while in right stance to shift into right flamingo stance. So that's this move here. Oh, sorry, not that one. That's this move right here, right? 3-4. This is really good because this move has been terrible since, I've been playing Tekken 6, which is like 10 years ago. He's always had this move. It's always been pretty useless because the second hit is high and can be ducked and you can be launched. And it's very telegraphed, right? As soon as you see this, you know the high is coming. But now that high, I believe, will be able to cancel into right flamingo before the high comes out. So depending on how much frame advantage you have when you cancel, you could potentially be able to counter hit people if they try to duck and launch you after this. That can be extremely helpful, and this mid here is a low hitting mid, which is important when you're fighting characters like Xiao Yu, for example, who duck under all of your mids. Now this could be a good option, to hit stuff like that, or just on anyone in general. Now that it can go into right flamingo stance, I think that's a huge buff. Depending on how much frame advantage you get, that could be a very huge buff right there. Right foot stance 4-4 improves the move's evasive properties. So that's this right here. So going into flamingo stance, when you're in this side, can be really evasive, right? If you do it right, like that, right? So it can be extremely evasive. It's better than a sidestep, actually. So in this case, the right flamingo one from the right stance is not very evasive, and it's not even used to evade anything at the moment. So they're gonna make this maybe kind of like a sidestep right, maybe as big as the evasiveness on that one. Who knows? But it's definitely a buff, and I'm excited to see how that's going to change his gameplay. While in right foot stance forward 4-4. So they changed the frame advantage, or I guess the negative frames, when blocked from -12 to -13, and they increased the lower range of the attack. So I'm sure most of you guys know, but that is this move here, and it's going to be very similar to the move I talked about earlier, which is that one. It looks very similar. It's pretty much the same move. It's going to be -13 now, which kind of sucks, but now I believe it will hit grounded, I think. Yeah, they increase the lower range of the attack. So I believe that means it's going to hit grounded, just like back 3 does. So that should be a pretty good buff as well. The negative 13, I don't see that being a huge problem, honestly. So I think that's overall pretty good. While in right stance forward 3, increase the range of the attack. So I thought this was a little bit weird at first. I didn't really know he needed this to have increased range. But there are some cases where you do 4-4-3, for example, when the pushback is too far, like right there, and it doesn't reach. So that will help us with scenarios like that, and also with combos. So if you want to do something like this, I mean, you can do it now. It's really not that difficult once you kind of practice it a little bit. But they're just going to make it a little bit more consistent and a little easier to do. So you'll be able to do a little bit more damage off of like backlash combos or other combos that have, right foot forward, forward 3 in it. They were previously hard to hit. They will now be much more consistent. So overall, that's a cool little buff. Nothing major, but definitely nice quality of life change. While in right stance down back 3, decrease the distance. So they just made it easier to punish. I mean, I'm going to show it real quick. It's just that move there. No one really uses that move. I use it sometimes actually. I think it's okay, but not a big deal. While in right stance back 3, I talked about that earlier. Change from -9 to -7. So that's the kick that's the high kick I talked about earlier. Just that move right there. Again, I think that's a pretty good buff for that move. While in right, all right, we're getting towards the bottom here. I know this is getting kind of long, but he has a lot of patch notes. I'm trying to like get through it quickly, so just bear with me. Now this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm interested to see how good this actually is. So while in right stance, 4 forward plus 4-3. So I'm just going to show you that move real quick. This move has been notoriously known as the scrub killer because most people, or not, I won't say most people, but a lot of lower level players or kind of newer players to Tekken don't know that that second hit is a high, and even if you block the mid, or if you block the mid, you can duck the high on reaction. It's very easy to see, very easy to duck, and very easy to launch punish. But if you don't know that, you get this for free. That's guaranteed, even if you block it. So at the wall, that would give you a free wall splat and a full combo. So if that was kind of why it was a scrub killer, right? But now they're making it so you can't duck it anymore, but they're changing a lot of the properties on it. So the damage got nerfed a little bit. The frame advantage on the first hit, this is not a big, I'm going to kind of just go through this. This doesn't really mean too much. This is where the big deal comes in. The frame advantage went from +14 to +3. That sounds bad, right? But short recovery time, increase the distance. The second hit can no longer be ducked. And that's what's crazy. So it's going to give you a +3. That's going to be a free +3 no matter what. And if the mid connects, even if you block it, you will no longer be able to duck this high. So this is going to be interesting. I'm not sure how good or how useful this will actually be. +3 is decent. So yeah, we'll have to see how that pans out. But I think it's really interesting, and that's definitely a buff to that move, because otherwise it was only useful at low levels and it was completely useless at higher levels. So now it will be pretty useful everywhere, I believe. Okay, right stance back towards enemy 3. I mean, that's just, again, that's another like plasma blade, I think, right? So again, that will probably hit grounded for some good Oki options there. This right stance back towards enemy 4-3. So they increase the lower range of the attack, meaning they buff the hitbox a little bit. They fix the issue with the second hit could be blocked if the first hit struck the opponent from the side. So that is definitely an issue if that was happening. I didn't know, because again, I don't really use this move here. But that is supposed to be a natural combo, and if the first hit connects, the second hit is guaranteed. It's supposed to always be guaranteed. So they fixed a bug where sometimes it wasn't guaranteed. That's cool. And they increased the lower range of it, which means the hitbox has been expanded downward a bit. And it could be useful in certain matchups. Again, like Xiao Yu, or people who kind of go under a lot of mids. Left flamingo forward. This is really good. Left flamingo forward 3. When it's blocked, it's now +4 instead of +3. So it's very similar to what I said about crouch dash 3. Right. So crouch dash 3 can be the same thing. Left flamingo stands forward 3. That's this move right here. It's going to be +4 now instead of +3, which means your jab again, will now beat out your opponent's jab instead of trading with it. Very good. That's extremely important. So now you're not put in situations where you must attack, and your best option is only a trade with your opponent's jab. Now your best option actually beats out all of your opponent's standing moves unless they high crush you. So that's really good. Huge buff, I think. That +1 frame is big in that scenario. Left flamingo stance down 4 and right flamingo stance down 3. These don't matter. I mean, you shouldn't be using these moves unless you're in like a 3-bar online connection. They're seeable, they're blockable, they're launch punishable, and the combo you get from them sucks. Not that move, sorry. That move is good. The combo you get from them sucks. All they did was increase the tracking of it. No big deal. Slight buff to a move that is unusable, completely unusable, other than lagging online connections. But yeah, so that was my quick kind of rapid fire breakdown. I'm not sure if I'm going to be back permanently yet. I was just kind of excited about these changes. We'll see how, how I like season 3. It's looking good so far, though. I think Hwoarang is going to be a pretty good character, and I've heard a lot of the top characters got nerfed. Geese, Steve. Sounds great. I hope to see more Hwoarang in tournament. And I guess that'll be about it. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.